Hi, my name's James and welcome to R&R, the show where I react to and review some of the latest and greatest music videos. However, today I'm going to be checking out the entire CHROMAKOPIA album from Tyler, the Creator. Let's go. Hell yeah, this is cool, because I had previously checked out, I guess, the teaser for this song or for the album. It's cool to know that there is a full track that then also opens. I also like that little opening line as well, spoken word section, that was cool. I really like the nice subtle way this song builds. Sort of around the beat, because like the beat comes in real hard, but then all the surrounding elements. Oh yeah. I would say I wanted that drop to be heaps bigger, more impact. Everything since the drop feels a bit like muffled. Hell yeah. So I think for the opening track of an album, it does pretty well to set the scene in such a way, because I think you've got that like the stomping beat to really drive it home, and that has a bit of that like rawness and the grittiness that you get in a lot of songs from Tyler, the Creator. But then yeah, you got that nice sort of like mellowy, loungy jazz thing being built up behind it, and of course, you know, you get like the gospel-y vocals, all the vocal throws and your vocalizations, which are really nice, and just add these little extra bits of texture within the sonic sort of landscape. I think the only bad thing really is that sometimes all of that, at least for me, it becomes distracting in such a way that it kind of pulls me away from the lyrical content. And I think, you know, definitely for me, hip-hop is all about that lyrical content, you know, what the song's about, the meaning, the truth of, you know, the poetic flow that is happening. That's kind of the big part of it. And it's, you get some nice lines here, you get some really great flow, but yeah, sometimes like all of that creative musical candy can kind of take away from it, and I feel it does that a little bit here. I will say this as well from the outset, from what I've heard, so in the Saint Chroma, I guess, teaser for the album, and I also have listened to Noid as well, and something that I have noticed is the master for both, you know, now listening to the full Saint Chroma song and in Noid, it does seem pretty quiet, I guess, in comparison to other modern records, which is somewhat surprising, but on the same hand, you know, also not, because yeah, seeing interviews with Tyler over the years, it does seem like every time he puts something out, there is this all-encompassing sort of thing about it, you know, with the color scheme, the clothes that he wears. Obviously here, you know, we've got the mask and the hair. So when it comes to the sort of loudness of the songs, there does definitely seem to be a pushing back of the whole loudness wars sort of thing, which I guess kind of somewhat puts Tyler in his own lane in that regard as well. All right, so now moving on to track 2 being Ratata. The contrast between track 1 and track 2 is 10 out of 10. Like there's some connecting tissue, but yeah, really good contrast. Exactly what you should have on an album. Hell yeah. I will say that track, although yeah, it's got that kind of, I don't want to say classic Tyler sort of sound, but like the darker, you know, more gritty Tyler sound to it, which is really cool. I think the two standout moments there for me are absolutely. It's such a small thing, but like when it cut both the beat out and also the flow, and where yeah, sort of he says, and also women. That was just really nice because it is one of those beats where, you know, there's moments where it drops certain elements out, but really it's just the same thing, you know, same, I don't know, four or 8 bars sort of just repeating. I do also really like, yeah, the way that he got around not having to rhyme with orange. Yeah, the carrot colored bus, that was really good, really smart. There was also, yeah, some really cool little mentions in there, like with Odd Future and whatnot. So that was really cool. I also really like the way that this is so far, all the songs are transitioning into each other, and particularly, as I mentioned before, you know, I've already listened to Noid, so I know how this one starts, and yeah, the fact that we've got that transition into it, really good. I really like, yeah, some of these like little bits of connecting tissue, particularly like you get the sort of, which yeah, it's like showed up in the past 2 songs as well, just like in different ways. I will say this beat is so whack. Like the timing of it, it's cool. I really like it. But yeah, the way it's been chopped and flipped, so cool, so weird. I like these little spoken word sections as well that we've gotten so far throughout the album. I find it really interesting the fact that there is alternate versions between the album and the music video, because I think where the music video kind of lacks is made up for in this album version. Like that whole ending section, even though it's so simple, it just adds this extra contrast between the entire sort of first half, or at least like first 2/3 of the song. Because even though you get some nice contrasts, like where those like extended sort of jazzy chords come in, and you get like the sung vocal to break up the rapping flow, you know, you've still got that beat behind it that's been flipped and chopped and sped up, where yeah, once it gets to that sort of last third, and it really takes a different shift, you know, the beat drops out entirely and you just got that sort of nice piano with a wash of sort of sounds behind it. Very atmospheric. I think, yeah, it actually makes the song so much, which then I find really fascinating why Tyler wouldn't release the full thing for the music video. But it also makes me wonder, and I guess hope, that one day we might actually get an album from Tyler that is also turned into like a full video production, sort of movie style production as well, where, you know, within the album everything is connected and flows so well from song to song, but then also music video, you know, have a music video for each of the songs that also flows from scene to scene would be a beautiful thing to see, and I think very appropriate as well. I guess fingers crossed that someday we do get something like that. I guess it doesn't have to be an album, even just an EP or something, or a mixtape. That would be really cool. However, now moving on to Darling I. In the background there, is that the same as what's that song from Snoop Dogg? Like the lip smacking. Like it's so right in the back of the mix. I wonder if it's a sample or if it's sort of recreated. Again, yeah, it was very subtle, but there was another whoo right in the back of the mix. Musically for that one, like what a bop. It's just so easy to get into the flow of the song and really just chill and jam out. But then of course you've got the lyrical content, and I think by this point, you know, if you haven't cottoned on, it's obviously a very personal album to Tyler, the Creator. You know, there's so many moments of like introspection on his life as it's grown to become. And I guess, yeah, like the pitfalls of being famous and having lots of money and not really knowing what to do with it. And well, I guess it's almost sort of like a celebrity trope at the moment, or by this time, you know. But yeah, so far lyrically been super interesting. It's also one of those things as well. It's like you're not quite sure, because obviously there's been moments where he's talking quite explicitly about his life as well and about certain events. And it's sort of like you're not quite sure where the fiction and the non-fiction sort of start and begin. There's this grey area as well, which is also really nice. It's yeah, there's sort of like part of it seems very poetic and very fictitious and beautiful, where in a way that it could be that like you can still put sort of your own perspective into it and feel for it. However, yeah, there's obviously lots of very deep connection to specifics in Tyler's life, which is really cool. I will say with the content, the lyrical content of that one, he is obviously talking very specifically about, you know, the topic of monogamy and how it's not working for him. But I think that also shows in his music as well. I mean, you know, 4 songs in, and even just the genre monogamy, it's showing. And not only here, but obviously in the past as well. I mean, you look at Tyler's entire back catalogue as a solo artist and part of Odd Future, and, you know, featuring in other people's songs as well. And yeah, it's quite apparent that, you know, even within the music sphere, and even as he mentioned, sort of, you know, nothing will get as close as music does for him. You know, he's even, yeah, not specific to genre. You know, he genre hops quite a bit, not only from song to song, but within song, and you know, so the melding of different genres as well. I think, of course, the other thing, you know, the other connecting tissue between this album and previous albums is like, of course, on a lot of Tyler's previous stuff, we've gotten these spoken word moments from other characters or other sort of collaborators. And, you know, on like the previous album, it was I forget his name, but it's like the DJ sort of doing the shout outs during the transitions of the songs. And we get that same thing here, but yeah, we get this female character, or this woman. It feels like, yeah, it's a mother type figure. All right, next up, we've got Hey Jane. Again, another very personal song lyrically. Interesting, yeah, the way it's now switched. You know, it was Hey Jane, now Hey T. I wonder if he wrote this and is delivering it, or if someone else wrote it. Again, but it's another one of those ones where it's hard to tell if it's, you know, true diary entry sort of story, or if it is fictitious again, or where the lines blur. That's really interesting. I guess, yeah, you've got obviously this narrative being told, which is, I don't know, a weird combination of beautiful and uneasiness, and you kind of get that within the music as well. That it feels like it's the tempo, it's pushing, and you get this sort of uneasiness from like it feels very free form as well. I don't think it necessarily is, but yeah, it also doesn't feel like, well, like when it does resolve, it only does briefly and then it kind of goes back in, and I guess that it's probably a really good way of showing those sorts of things, because yeah, as a parent myself, you know, when you get that news, it can be quite difficult to really process it, and even after time, you know, it still can be quite difficult to really understand the process that's happening, both, I guess, yeah, for yourself as the man, but then to go that step further and yeah, flip it, take it from the woman's perspective. That's also really interesting in the way that, I guess, yeah, the mind races and latches on to different things, you know, from the first half, yeah, it's sort of latching on to, like, you know, wasn't sure I was ready, but now I maybe am, and, you know, it's sort of like this happening has given me that realization. But then from the female's perspective, being like, you know, I can see that you're not ready and I'm happy for you to leave, you know, I can do this on my own, but I hope you do sort of stick around, at least in some fashion. Yeah, there was some really great lines in there as well, particularly from in that second half, from in the woman's perspective. Yeah, it went super deep, didn't it? Next up, I Killed You. Ooh. Oh. The combination of like the guitar and then there was like, I don't know, some sort of percussion, like glockenspiel or something behind it. The beat as well, like the percussion beat with the breath reinforcing it, really. And these bits that it builds up. And that big 808 bass adds so much weight when it comes in. I don't know about that one. It's cool, it's fun, it's different, it's nice. I guess yeah, it sort of brings up the energy overall when it comes to like the pacing of the past two songs prior to it. It gives, I guess, overall a bit of a life boost, and I guess a positive boost as well to the track listing so far. A weird one, very, like moments of dissonance and darkness, but also then you get this sort of that flipped again as well, because there's moments of like where it's very fun and sort of just boppy. That one was a weird one. Yeah, that one's one I'm gonna definitely have to go back and have a couple of listens to really get an idea of it, because very odd, very odd. So now over to Judge Judy. Yeah, I was wondering where this song would go with the whole Judge Judy reference, if it was going to be to the TV show Star. I don't know if you'd use that term, but yeah. But this is cool. I like the way that's, yeah, sort of used Judge. I guess, yeah, we got that sort of connecting tissue to one of those previous songs within the lyrical content. It's talking about monogamy and, yeah, not caring about it, not worrying about it, being open to, yeah, his sexual partners, being open to do anything with other people. This is going to be a pretty big call, but there's almost like a Beatles-esque kind of thing here. It reminds me of, what's the one? Polythene Pam, or like, yeah, it's that sort of thing, because there's, what's the other one? Yeah, I guess because there's like the story, the narrative, but then there's that rhyme scheme with the, alliteration. Again, it's got that other thing of like the gray area, not sure where exactly the fiction and non-fiction begin and end. Ooh, oh, what a nice shift. Oh, I like that. That was cool. Because the beat's been so same throughout the track. And it's like, you know, the narrative you're sort of following. Oh, nice arpeggiated synth. The other synth behind it really reinforcing things. Yeah, I'd say again, like that one's definitely one where like obviously the story being told is kind of like the main subject. You know, the beat and everything behind it's nice, but it's kind of nothing too interesting without the actual narrative that you get to follow along with. Until you get to that very last section where, yeah, the song really just opens up and becomes at least something a bit different than what you've already heard throughout the rest of the song. Of course, yeah, you get the, I guess the picture kind of told to you with the, let's just say the backing vocals that are in there. But yeah, that was cool. I like this. So far, yeah, I really like this album, how the pacing of it, the story element, and again, yeah, that sort of weird grey area. It's kind of hard to tell if it is specific to Tyler or if this is, yeah, like where, again, you know, where the fiction and non-fiction end and begin. Super cool. And yeah, I think it probably was just the alliteration with the JJ, Judge Judy. But I think also the storytelling element that made me thought of, yeah, like Beatles with like Polythene Pam and a bunch of songs that they wrote that use that same sort of rhyme scheme style with the alliteration and it was very, yeah, like narrative driven lyrically. All right, next up is Sticky. Been a lot of references to pronouns and, you know, they, them and all that. I was wondering when the beat was going to come in. Oh. Some of the background vocals or the hype vocals and the ad-libs in this song have been red hot. Ooh. Like trumpet or saxophone, whatever it is. A dog tooth, yeah. I'm gonna say so far, I think that's my favorite song. Yeah, I think with the features on that track, the beat, the way this whole song just grows and transforms and yeah, everything about that one was real cool because I think something that I've noticed so far is it definitely hasn't been like your classic radio friendly or like hit song. And of course, not that there needs to be, but I think, yeah, the past couple of albums from Tyler, it seems like there's always been like at least that one song that becomes a bit of a popular hit. And I think with Sticky, that's maybe the closest we've gotten so far. I think as well, something really, really cool about that song is like with a lot of songs, you know, rap songs that have a lot of features within them, something that happens quite a lot is like a lot of the time it's the beat really stays the same. There's not a whole lot different or new happening. And it's the features that really carry the song. Yeah, and we get a little bit of that. Like by the end, it does get quite repetitive, but I think, yeah, there's enough in there where it's like the features that we get from Glorilla, Sexy Red, and Lil Wayne are really good. But then the way that the beat also changes to accommodate those changes as well is really top tier sort of stuff. It's just, it's refreshing, I think, for people that really, really are into hip hop, but also like me that enjoy other genres that do have these, structural changes, these tone color changes. It just, keeps it fresh, keeps it interesting. All right, so next up, we've got Take Your Mask Off. Feels very like 80s family-friendly sitcom kind of vibes. Whoa. I was wondering where the lyrics were going, and then wow. Yeah, I kind of assumed with the song title, Take Your Mask Off, that it was going to be sort of focused around that idea of, sort of like you're wearing a mask, you put on a brave smile to sort of face the day, that kind of thing. But damn, like that whole first section about, the preacher or the priest or whatever it was, that was honestly so surprising and so, like, I honestly have no words for it. Like, I was really, just taken aback by that whole section there. And then the following one as well, I guess it wasn't as explicit or as intense, but it still had a lot going for it. And then like the following, and then after that, because I guess you got the three separate sort of stories in there. The one after that, it again, definitely wasn't nowhere near as explicit, but it's now getting me thinking, like, is there connection between all three? Like, is it the sort of thing like, there's like butterfly effect sort of thing, or is it much more direct? That's one I'm definitely gonna have to actually like read through the lyrics and try and find, because like, that's a song that's, it needs some contemplating for sure. And that's just lyrically, like musically, it was beautiful as well. Another song where, musically, really beautiful. Like, there's moments where you can kind of get swept up in that contrast as well, because like, this beautiful backdrop for some really, really intense lyrical themes. Ooh, damn. All right, next up is Tomorrow. I think with that one again, musically, definitely a lot going on, really interesting, some very intricate sort of chord progression changes, and the beautiful guitar that's being played as well. A lot going like harmonically with how the guitar is interacting with the bass and other musical elements that are in there. Really, really cool, really beautiful sort of stuff. I think also, again, lyrically, it's so hard to tell. The lines are very blurred as to where, there's, the fiction and the non-fiction. And I think another one that, really requires a couple of listens, a couple of real tight listens, looking through the lyrics and really delving deeper. All right, so next up is Thought I Was Dead, featuring Schoolboy Q and Santa Gold. I really like that on these heavier or dirtier sort of tracks, that's where he's bringing in these features of, I guess, more traditional rap artists, which is really cool because, I guess, like, you've got the tracks that are a little bit softer, personal. The new Tyler, I guess that kind of gets referenced quite a bit, but then even within that one, it's sort of hard to tell because, he's talking about the new Tyler, but then it seems like the new Tyler is the heavier Tyler, but I don't know. There's, an interesting sort of like back and forth there. But I do really like that, on some of the more heavier tracks, there is these features where it's like, Tyler, at least the new Tyler, doesn't have to be, or have to like fake it, I guess, which is really cool. So that's where, you get the features that able to like not only pad out the song to make it sort of a bit longer of a runtime and sort of make the song more interesting, but also, again, you get that sort of like the interesting shift that every time one of the features comes in as well musically, which is really awesome. So yeah, really cool. I like the purpose, and I like the intentionality of having the features be on certain tracks, and I guess the certain features on certain tracks which really heighten and take these specific ones, like Sticky and that one, to yeah, like a whole different level than if it was just Tyler, or if it was specifically, I guess, yeah, if it was Tyler like trying to be the old Tyler, or like not in that one, but yeah, in one of the previous songs, it's like, yeah, you mentioned Dogtooth. I think that's kind of like, yeah, sort of harkening back to some of the older Tyler sort of flow and his approach, his delivery, and I guess a certain lyrical style as well. All right, so next up is Like Him featuring Lola Young. I like that. That's a really nice shift musically. Really nice. I really like the textures of the sounds. Wow. Yeah, another, again, like musically beautiful track to then have this sort of lyrical theme and a narrative, and the personal sort of touch to it again. You know, even just a couple of songs previously, there was mention of, yeah, sort of not knowing, you know, Tyler not knowing his dad and how that's affected him. And now we get an entire track sort of covering that topic in a very personal way. Because, yeah, you get, again, whether it is Tyler's mum or not that is actually speaking, you know, you get that the mother figure back, and then, yeah, delivering these very personal message. Yeah, wow. Really, really cool. And I love, again, like the way that song goes. Yeah, the moments where, yeah, just all music sort of cuts out and you get that interesting reprieve, just sort of like sit with what you've just heard and learnt for a moment before then it comes back in, and then sort of like the self-reflection comes back from Tyler. And yeah, that's another track definitely need to listen to a couple of times at least to really sink your teeth into and get a really good understanding of it. Also, like, yeah, again, you know, the moments of like, you get the dog sort of barking thing that has come up multiple times throughout the album as well. So you get that weird connecting tissue thing happening again, that along with, again, the spoken word elements that are also so far, yeah, a very integral part of the album and the theme. All right, so next up is Balloon featuring Doechii. I think, again, you know, we get another song where musically maybe it's not the most comfortable for Tyler to just be on, because, yeah, the electro pop sort of element to the entire thing, really, really interesting. I also, I guess, yeah, now being at the end of the album with our final song just about to come up, I found it really interesting how many songs don't have a rhythmic element, or sorry, a percussion element to it. You know, there's been so many tracks that are just the, you know, sort of chordal backing and a melodic arrangement, but yeah, with no percussive element other than maybe, yeah, sometimes like the bass guitar providing it. So yeah, really interesting approach to many of these songs as well, to forego, you know, having a beat driving. And lyrically, again, I think same sort of thing. You know, you get this other version of Tyler, whether that's the new one, the old one, it's, again, hard to tell with the blurriness of it all. But yeah, really interesting to get that the different shifts throughout the entire album. And I think as well, you know, being a longer album, and me personally, you know, I'm not a huge fan of hip hop albums. I find they do drag on. You know, a tight 45-minute album or under is usually sort of my preference, where this one, I think the runtime is around that 52-minute mark. And even as listening through the entire album in this way, it doesn't, it's definitely dragging on because I'm stopping and talking, but it doesn't feel as long as I think the runtime sort of is. And I think that's because there's so much variation musically, genre, but also, you've got the narrative sort of overarching the entire album, and you've got that to follow along to as well, which is really fun at moments and really sort of almost breathtaking at other times, where it's and almost hard to listen to and read along to due to the content. So I guess here we are, lucky last, we've got I Hope You Find Your Way Home. Hell yeah. What an album. But I guess, what a song as well. Like, I think, obviously, or at least what I think, you get the callback to, Call Me If You Get Lost, which is cool. But then again, so many moments throughout that song as well. You get these little, like, certain lines that call back to other lines within previous songs on the album. But to be honest, that little bridge section, the voicemail, what a beautiful little moment to have, in the final song, particularly when, you've had all of this sort of lyrical themery from Tyler being sort of like, I work so much, am I sort of really living life in comparison to sort of like family and friends around me that are, having kids and getting married and whatnot. But then, getting that, like, just that nice little voicemail message sort of confirming, like, keep doing what you're doing. Everything you do is, astounding sort of thing. Super beautiful moment to really, just put a ribbon on the whole thing. So what an album. I think, you get, again, that thing of like, is it a concept album? It's hard to tell, where the fiction and non-fiction begin and end, but it feels really nice. This whole album feels nice, that it feels like such a thing, it feels tangible. It feels like something worth owning, it feels, something worth, like, the whole arrangement, the whole package really does feel like a piece of art. It doesn't feel like there's anything too disjointed, but you also have enough difference, variety to keep it fresh. The production on the album from song to song is great. There are moments where, you sort of, I guess if you're trying to make comparisons to other modern hip-hop albums, you might not enjoy it because it does feel sort of woolly and muddy at some moments. But again, I think the package as a whole, it kind of requires it and also makes it stand out from, I guess, the modern offering of other mainstream hip-hop artists, which is, again, really cool. I think it also works with, like, the themery around the color palette that we get and, like, the clothing and everything that sort of goes along with it. The lack of better term, it gives it that sort of like retro sort of feel. I think also, like, what an album of just surprises, both musically and lyrically as well. Going into this, as I'd said, I'd listened to St. Chroma and I'd listened to Noid, knowing that, there was already going to be that sort of introspective, it's going to be an album that has, sort of like personal touch to it, of course, which is not something necessarily new from Tyler, but I think to go this deep as he goes here into many elements, particularly I think because, the themery around Noid specifically is kind of that thing of like, too many people know too much about me, but then there's many songs on here where he's, again, going really deep into some personal stuff. But then again, it's kind of hard to tell if that is real or not. If it is just part of the art, part of the story being told, or if it really is true to Tyler and his life. So it's funny, that dichotomy, I guess. And I guess we've also seen that within the popular sphere of many other artists, particularly lately with Chapel Roan sort of doing a similar thing where, yeah, sort of coming out on social media and really laying into some of the more hardcore, intense fans. And then, of course, you know, sort of paparazzi and whatnot as well. But same sort of thing, you know, yeah, there's, you know, certain, you know, in her songs, she's getting quite deep and quite personal on certain subjects. So yeah, it's sort of like, where do you draw the line? How do you really connect with your fans deeply without it crossing the line? And I guess that's not necessarily always going to, be on the artist. You know, that comes down to, you know, the person themselves knowing what is an appropriate way to approach a celebrity, I guess, or an artist that, has taken the risk to share in such a way. So yeah, overall, a really great album, one that I do think I actually want to purchase on vinyl to have it as a piece of art, which doesn't happen quite a lot with new releases. So yeah, that's kind of saying a lot. So with that out of the way, let me know what are your guys' thoughts on CHROMAKOPIA by Tyler, the Creator, and let me know what should I check out next in the comments down below.